CRN, Chuck Wilder, and let me tell you about my guest, Kimberly Dvorak, streaming live on Facebook. She is the award-winning national security and border security investigative reporter for TV, radio, and the print media. She is also senior foreign policy advisor for the Committee for Responsible Foreign Policy, TV correspondent for CW6 News San Diego, as well as One American News Network. And her website is thekdreport.com. Kimberly, how are you?
I'm fine. How about yourself, Chuck?
Doing pretty good. So, Hollywood is now playing football and has decided to tackle Hollywood's misguided electric car versus gas cars. Thank goodness they're speaking up. We always wait for their so much knowledge pouring out of that place. Yes.
Yeah.
All right, what have they done now?
Well, this time we obviously just are getting through the last couple weeks of, like, at least on the East Coast, having trouble getting fuel. Gas stations being closed because of the Colonial Pipeline, the largest pipeline on the East Coast, was shut down. And of course, here comes Mark Ruffalo, who's a prominent actor in Hollywood, claiming that we must now stop all of the Trump pipelines and that this is a disaster that our country cannot no longer afford to wait to act. However, I don't know if he was auditioning for a role for China in the next movie over there, but this pipeline was hacked. This pipeline did not leak fuel and create an environmental disaster as Mark Ruffalo intended his audience to believe. And when you have actors out there pushing this kind of drama, I mean, you have to wonder, what about the people who couldn't get gas, who couldn't go to work? How are they feeding their family that week if they can't get to work because they couldn't fill up their tank at the gas station? And yet he's telling us we must close all of them down. Pretty scary stuff when you think about it.
Well, and it shows you where they're coming from, and they're not going to stop. But the campaign called Stop Trump Pipelines. Boy, have you ever seen one person walking on Earth other than Jesus Christ, I guess, that gets so much attention. Trump. He's not even playing golf.
He's not even playing.
He's not a golfer. Leave him alone.
Exactly, and this is the thing, which was, I mean, it's when you read this, you laugh. We laugh. I mean, but there are people that read that and they're like seriously thinking, we need to do that. But he blamed the Colonial Pipeline disaster which was a cyber attack on former President Trump. Trump had nothing to do with the cyber attack. This came from a shady group, as we've discussed on the radio, from Ukraine, Russia, wherever you want in the Eastern Bloc. Nobody really knows exactly where they are. However, these people are putting out their message, and they're still blaming Trump for this. And this was a cyber attack. This was not a leak from the pipeline that, went out and polluted, thousands of acres, and people were just completely had to leave their homes in epic proportions. And this is what these people in Hollywood are putting out there. And my suggestion to them is, like, you can have your own, voice, and you can say what you want about this stuff. Leave it to the experts when we're dealing with environmental issues, because actually transporting fuel via the pipelines is the absolute safest way to transport fuel across this country.
And it's the usual cast of characters from Hollywood. Whenever it was Trump, and you had all these people, I'm going to move if he gets elected. He got elected. They're still here. But you've got these mouthpieces. And, of course, I'm going to let you read off the list here. We got about a minute before we have to take a break.
Oh, God, you want me? I don't even want to give these guys credit. I don't want to give these guys credit. I mean, the actors, I guess, maybe we should... We could say, let's stay away from the movies that they make. How about that? Robert Downey Jr., Jason Momoa.
To have a little thing in the back everywhere you wind her up.
There we go. Jane Fonda, Leonardo DiCaprio, Scarlett Johansson, Amy Schumer, Joaquin Phoenix, Alyssa Milano, Chelsea Handler, John Cheadle, Jason Momoa, who half these people don't even know, and Robert Downey Jr. Those are the people that are saying that we need to shut all of the pipelines down. So I guess people that go watch their movies aren't going to be able to get to the movie theater to watch their movies because they're going to be busy going back to the horse and buggy stage. So
so I'm so down now. Joaquin Phoenix, I love his movies. I guess, I won't spend any money. I'll wait until it comes out on video.
There you go. Or Netflix.
Hey, and we're going to talk about the Keystone Pipeline. This is really interesting coming up from Kimberly Dvorak, streaming live on Facebook. The Keystone Pipeline versus train versus ship, just to move oil. Streaming live, and I got her, the beautiful Kimberly, right there, and she's in a happy mood, and let's golf, and if we have time, we'll talk about it. But anyway, these statistics you have here, the Keystone Pipeline versus train versus ship to move oil.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I'm going to let you run with it because I don't want to interrupt. Okay. Put it that way.
Okay, so if the Keystone Pipeline was allowed to run, and we all know that on day one, President Biden actually shut the Keystone Pipeline down, that method of transporting fuel would move 35 million gallons of fuel per day. Now, what this is going to have to do now, because that gas is going to get moved whether the Biden administration wants it to or not. So now what they're using trains. So now it'll take 12 trains plus 1.5 million gallons of diesel fuel to move that oil up and down throughout the United States. If you talk about the ships that are out there that are moving oil through the shipping lanes, that's the least regulated and the most polluting factor of moving any kind of product around this world. So if the environmentalist out there, and again, Mark Ruffalo, maybe you tuned in here and you want to get a little bit of a lesson as to what the easiest way is to move all of this fuel, you might want to focus your energy on the ships out there because they're actually the least regulated and are the biggest polluters in this, in transporting fuel and other goods around the world. So that's a place to focus. And even Joe Biden's Secretary of Energy, Jennifer Granholm, she has even come out on the record, and this is a Democrat, saying the easiest, most secure, the best way to move any kind of oil through this country is using these pipelines. So why do they want to shut down these pipelines that are actually the best for the environment, and it moves things easily and effortlessly? And if they want to go in and blame the cyber attacks for a reason to shut down the pipelines, one would argue maybe they ought to consider that the United States uses this fuel to make a whole bunch of other things, notwithstanding maybe the lights that we've got turned on here and the electricity, so you can plug in your hair curler, Mr. Ruffalo, and maybe you want your kids to have some toast for breakfast. That all requires fuel, and that fuel is not coming from the sun.
Wow. And then we get to this whole thing about electric cars. I got to tell you something real quick. I subscribed to AAA magazine, and out in California, and they had this thing as soon as you open it up, and it's a picture of like 4 electric cars that were parked in front of a big hotel in Long Beach, California, and they were talking about these electric cars. And this was 1910. And from 1910 to 1912, electric cars were kind of popular, but then the automobile industry invented the automatic starter, where you didn't have to worry about breaking your arm in case it
the crank, the old crank, yes.
Yeah.
Well, you got lots of exercise doing that.
But you know what? People aren't going to put up with going 7 miles an hour. Okay, put it that way. And this is how green are electric cars. I like this heading here.
Yeah.
Over the next. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, I want to say, I usually talk about national security issues, and I just want to say that this topic definitely falls under national security because this implicates like the military. Every vehicle, every plane that we have out there that we're operating they use fossil fuels here. They are not using batteries that from the sun that are moving these tanks across the deserts, or making sure that we're able to train our troops that they can wake up in the morning and have lights when they got to get up at 4 a.m. for their run, so they can do their thing and protect our country. So this does have a lot of national security implications, especially when you look at what it takes to make these batteries that operate these electric cars, because we're not getting any of the minerals and in this country. We're not manufacturing. Now there are two mining sites that are set to maybe go online sometime this year, but we don't know, because we don't know what the Biden administration is going to allow on this. So that means that the majority of all of this, all of these products, we have to buy from foreign actors, and China again here controls 85% of them, and the main
85.
85.
That is the most.
Yeah.
That is the most important thing in this whole report.
Yeah.
Here we go again with who benefits? China. China.
Exactly. Now, and if you look at that 85%, and they're not getting the 85% out of their ground, they're using Argentina, Bolivia, Chile, Republic of the Congo, and as well as other Asian countries make up, the vast majority of the, rare earth minerals and rare earth and the minerals that are required to make these batteries. So that 85% is critical, because what is happening is China's taking this out of the ground, which is leaving an environmental disaster zone in these other countries, which I haven't seen the EPA out there, chiming in about. But China is basically raping the land, bringing all those minerals, and then what they're doing is they're putting a moratorium. They're not selling just the minerals to any other countries, like say the United States or Russia or India. If you need a battery made, you must go to China. They will make it for you, and then they will send you and sell you the finished product. So again, that 85% is a key factor in this, quest to have everybody buy electric vehicles. Do we really want to have all of our vehicles now, sitting on the breach of like jumping into the some sort of canyon somewhere if they don't get their batteries from China? And then China could very well just say, we're not really happy with you, the United States. No batteries for you. We're not giving you any batteries this year. So these are national security implications, and this is the aspect about this climate change that the left really perpetuates. And sure, the climate's changing. I call it weather, but whatever. I don't want the planet. I don't want the dinosaurs running around the streets here. I'm fine with oil. But there is change, and we will see that homes and cars will be fueled by green technology. We're not there yet. We're not anywhere close to being there yet. And if any indication about the heating and air conditioning industry, let's go back this winter in Texas, where they were relying a lot on these solar panels, and it didn't work out too well.
Yeah, like you say, among material realities of the green energy, wind turbines, solar panels to generate electricity, batteries to fuel electric vehicles at an average of more than 10 times the quantity of materials compared to the building using of hydrocarbons to deliver the same amount of energy to society. Yeah. What about whenever Elon Musk launches one of those rockets? That's on batteries, right?
Yeah. You know what? And I'm sure they charge those using the solar panels that are on the actual rocket all the way around it. It's so aerodynamic. So I'm certain that's exactly what he's using. No, these are issues that the environmental people out there they don't understand, that our entire economy is based around fossil fuel. Just think about the plastic bottles that you buy your water in, or your Gatorade, or you pick up your sour cream in. All of that stuff takes fossil fuel to make. The wind turbines, where they're going to throw the wind turbines all over. Well, the plastic, turbine actual spinning around thing, that's all made using fossil fuel. And then another thing, one last thing I just kind of want to get out, it bothers me, is because none of this stuff is environmentally friendly. And come 2050, we're looking at, by 2030, there's going to be 10 million tons of trash from batteries. I mean, that's a lot of trash for batteries. Yeah. So we don't even know how to recycle this stuff yet. So when people say we've got to change everything immediately, no, we don't. The science is not there yet. We do not have the technology to ensure that we're not going to have like huge garbage dumps all over the show. Our batteries everywhere, just in the streets. I mean, I don't know. I mean, are little rats going to come around and eat up all the battery parts and then they'll dissolve? I just don't know how they get around it. But it's time that the country has a really sensical conversation about what's going on with this green movement, because we're not there. Maybe we will be one day, but today is not that day, next week's not that day, next year's not that day, 10 years down the road is not that day.
And the wind blades on the turbines, as I understand, they never decompose.
Never.
Maybe after a million years, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, again, like I said, 10,000 years down the road, I don't even think that will be the day just yet. Perhaps they'll figure it out, but they haven't done it yet. And these are all, issues that will have consequences. And again, when the economy now is struggling to get back on its feet and workers are trying to get back to work, having pipelines shut down and driving the gas prices up, that's not helping anybody. By the way, that's going to lead to more inflation, which means groceries are going to be more expensive. Gas is more expensive. Everything that's moved by a truck, a train, that's going to be more expensive. So it just, going back to, the actors there in Hollywood and Mark Ruffalo, I really wish they would do their research before they come out and make silly statements, because when they do this, they embarrass themselves by making these statements and not going in and looking at the facts and looking at the consequences, which is something that Congress here in DC has, they never look at the consequences. And the consequences can be catastrophic, and they can send this country back to the horse and buggy days if that's what they really want to do to be environmentally friendly. But let me tell you, China's not doing that, Russia's not doing that, India's not doing that, and any other emerging country is certainly not doing that.
There was something that just wasn't publicized very much, and of course it was that way on purpose. But you have to think about it, listener, that whenever they first started using the giant windmills, a lot of you probably don't know, that they put a, I guess you could say, accepted casualty rate
on birds,
for the California golden eagle.
Yeah.
Now, that would worry some Hollywood figures, normally.
Yeah,
but
I guess not.
They didn't even get involved in that.
Yeah. Not, the eagle, man, we don't need the eagles. We have the pigeons. What do we need the eagles for?
Yeah, really.
These are the, and I actually remember driving by some of those big wind turbines out in the desert. And you actually, birds fly into these things and they just decapitate.
Oh, yeah.
It's like brutal, and it's like the casualty, like you said, it's like World War I proportion size for these birds that are out there flying. Again, these are, examples of unintended, consequences. And, do we need all the, the eagles? Well, I don't know. I thought they were on the endangered species. Thought it was kind of a cool bird. But, this is, misguided outrage by Hollywood when they talk about, the pipelines being shut down, because the pipelines, not killing birds. Well, birds are all making it. So,
Well, the pipeline does kill. Let me explain something here, okay? So we got a limit on the golden eagle for the windmills, all right? So on the pipeline, apparently they have a limit on that too for 11,000 jobs lost.
Oh yeah, there you go. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And those jobs have not been recovered, but don't worry. The Biden administration has told those 11,000 workers that they will be learning some new trades so they can get into a new line of business. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
You're going to get retrained.
I think that was shoveling gravel on all the new highways or something.
It could be,
know.
yeah. That shovel-ready stuff?
Man.
Is that shovel-ready projects?
These statistics that you have on the very beginning of this report
yeah.
are very, very interesting,
Yeah.
And a train, 55.5 gallons of diesel per mile, that's how much they use. And if you just look into it, and I guess you were being nice, but there's a lot of names of people, and they just happen to be Democrats, too, that own these trains, that carry this stuff.
Yeah, kind of like Warren Buffett.
Yeah, it's amazing how all this stuff ties together.
Yeah.
And I don't know how these certain Democrats are so intelligent that they just know what stock to buy 2 days before it crashes.
Yeah, well, yeah, the Keystone Pipeline was like also kind of put under wraps with Obama. Trump came in, let it go, and they built it and they got going on it, and then now Biden's in, and Biden's like, that's bad. And this is bad because the primary owner of the trains that are shipping this oil north and south is Warren Buffett, of course, one of the most wealthy people in the world. Not sure why he needs even more, but apparently it's enough to, they get rid of 11,000 jobs. The cleanest and easiest way to move this. So, I mean, if there's a train derailment, all that oil spills right into the soil and has serious ramifications for wildlife. But these are issues that I think that the Green New Deal, when we start unfolding it and looking at numbers like I've put together in this report, when you look at this, I mean it's transparent, and you can see that they could care less about the environment. They care about power, they care about control, and they want that money. And these are the richest people, like the Bill Gates and these people. They don't have the best interests of the middle class in mind, not whatsoever.
Hey,
Yeah.
Bill Gates is after what those things called there, the Nobel Peace Prize. He wanted one of those.
Yeah.
Talking Epstein.
Yeah.
Kimberly, we're going to take our world-famous break. We'll come back. We may talk golf. Let's see. Fuzzy math plus Trump equals a four-letter word, I guess. Right? Boy. Yes. They do have the Trump syndrome. Kimberly Dvorak, the website, thekdreport.com, and streaming live right now. Kimberly, she is so talented. And one of her talents, and we've mentioned a few times, is golf. I didn't know if you wanted to get into that subject now. Did you know you don't need a battery or gas to hit a golf ball?
You do not. You do not. Yes, my favorite sport, obviously. And yesterday, watching Phil Mickelson win the PGA Championship tournament at the age of 50, becoming the oldest person to win any major event in golf, was unbelievable. He's a fellow San Diegan and an all-around good guy. There's nobody, you don't see him on the golf course, and I think that they pointed this out yesterday as well. As some of the younger guys are like, why is he so popular? Why is he getting all the attention? And he had Tiger-like crowd attention the past few days, which was great to see that, fans are like, yeah.
He was ahead about 10 all the time, wasn't he, or something like that?
Yeah. Well, no. It got close. He won by 2 at the very end, so it wasn't like it was a runaway at any stretch. But he's respected and loved by fans because if he makes a bad shot, he doesn't throw his club into the ground. If he makes a bad shot, he doesn't cuss and curse and say bad words and get in trouble. In fact, the only thing I ever saw him actually do was he got frustrated one time when he was putting, and he missed the putt, and I think he was clearly going to miss the cut to go into the weekend. And while the ball's moving, he just putt the ball again, and that's a big no-no. He got a fine for that, but he's just a well-liked guy because he's really nice. He loves the sport. He still has a smile on his face after all these years. Obviously, he's a millionaire, but anyways, a loved guy. And it was awesome to watch.
Yeah. The rule says you can only hit the ball once while it's rolling, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, he was so frustrated that he just hit it again because he knew it was done, but. It's fun to watch, but over and above that, watching the fans out there standing right next to each other with no masks on. So it was great to see thousands of people outdoors watching golf without their masks on. And I'm sure we'll hear today that this will be a huge super spreader event, but I think, all kidding aside here, that at least this showed and demonstrated to the country that, look, COVID, I think we've gotten a control of it for the most part, and if you have serious issues that you are worried about, by all means wear a mask. But by all means, let the rest of us go out there and enjoy life, enjoy the summer, enjoy sports, support sports, and go out and do this without wearing a mask. So I mean, it's bravo Zulu to Phil Mickelson for winning it, and it just goes to show you that age is only a number.
Yeah, and as I understand, he was having some bad years, but his wife was pretty ill there for a while, and I don't know what her status is, but I understand she's gotten a lot better.
Yeah. She had cancer, and he was there, and then he also went and watched his daughters graduate from high school and go to college. I mean, so he's one of those girl dads that as moms just absolutely love. But more than that, he's a statesman with the sport. And when you see some of the younger players, like Brooks Koepka, he was a little upset about the whole situation, that he wasn't getting the attention, and you could see that he kept getting frustrated by all the attention that Phil was getting on that final day. And the younger kids, they need to learn that you always need to respect your elders, unless it's the left. But anyways,
I'm listening to you, Mama. Okay.
Absolutely.
Hey, and by the way, program note: Kimberly's going to be on Wednesday next week, because it's going to be following Memorial Day weekend, and schedules get moved around. So thank you very much. Don't forget the website, thekdreport.com.